Hello, this is Stephen O'Keefe. These are my storyboards for a 1993 computer-generated animation called Crystal, which I developed on my own back in the day. It begins with geometric stars in a cave, sort of like night lights, keeping the two knots, as I call them, the silica knots, with bedtime rest, and they wake up with an alarm, and they go out in their cave to explore. The whole thing was meant to be trippy, very CGI reflections of crystals and crystalline structures reflecting off the astronauts. And it was all meant to be CGI. It was probably a little too advanced to be a 1993 project. You could do it today pretty easily, since anything is possible with CGI. Here the astronauts find a sort of a latent blossom, and they use this electrifying beam to activate it and make it blossom. And here these firefly-like defense mechanisms come out and start attacking the knots. And they react to it and wonder. They put away their little laser beam, and then they take out something else to activate the latent flower. And this droplet is sort of anti-gravity, and it slowly descends on the flower. Again, very trippy. I wanted it to be almost like the paintings that people make when they've experienced DMT. You can Google that on YouTube and see those type of paintings. They're very colorful and prismatic. And here the flower shakes and erupts into a crystalline structure, which the fireflies react even more violently to, and the knots shake them away. And here we have the astronaut, the knot, examining the flower, and a little case comes forward and he starts picking leaves off the flower as the other astronaut notices particles falling onto his helmet. And then he reacts in exclamation as he notices the defensive fireflies from the flower sawing away at a crystalline structure to drop it on them in self-defense. And this fragment of the crystalline tower was meant to look gigantic, because as we see as the animation progresses, these knots are actually microscopic in size, and they're exploring the I don't want to give it away. You can watch this to the end with the sound off if it's a spoiler, but they're exploring the inside of a dead astronaut, his frozen gizzards, his frozen entrails. And here the two astronauts narrowly escape the fallen crystalline fragment, and it falls apart, and under its own weight it starts collapsing into sections. And the astronauts look in dismay as the final section destroys the flower that they were examining, and it explodes into crystalline dust. But as they lament the loss of the flower, they notice that the earth is shaking. The crystalline cavern is shaking from the weight of the crystalline fragment, and it caves away and opens up a very large hole in the bottom of the cave. And the two knots look in wonder at the new cave before them, something new to explore. And it glows in brilliance. And we boom up. We see the two astronauts, knots, wincing and looking at the cave. And the cave calls to them. Then they decide to go explore the cave. They get a grappling hook and a tether and go down into the cave. And as we see as they descend into the cave, we do a zoom out. And we see that this is all the crystallized, frozen intestines of a dead astronaut. It was meant to be a metaphor for the use of drugs. That's why it's called crystal, like crystallized methamphetamine. We can see their spaceship orbiting the body here, and how drug use eats you up from the inside. It's all very playful and prismatic and colorful and trippy, like a psychedelic rush, but it eats you up from the inside. And you can see here the astronaut with a pulsar star pulsing through his wound like a heartbeat. And we fade to black. I'll link a PDF in the comments with my developmental artwork, thumbnails, and the storyboards themselves.